So if you've ever been hurt or injured, or in my case, rolled your ankle and it's taking you out of play, you've probably heard from your doctors or athletic trainers or whoever that you should be resting, icing, and immobilizing your ankle to allow for recovery. And I found that this is the absolute worst thing that you can do, and probably is actually extending the period that which you are having to recover from and keeping you out of play. So my name is Nick Lyden. I'm a certified strength and conditioning coach, and I'm going to share with you my ankle rehab protocol that I used this past week from ruining my ankle and not being able to play the rest of my rugby final, which we took an L and that was terrible. But being back now 1 week later and being able to run and being able to sprint. So I'm going to share with you everything that I did in between. And look, this might ruffle some feathers and some people might not agree, but I'm sharing with you what's worked for me and what's worked for my athletes in order to get back very, very quickly from ankle injuries. So let's take you back to the day of the game, right? This is where it happened. This was a contact injury. I came around outside of a scrum and whoop, I got a tackle rolled into me and I fell super gracefully on the floor. And I heard the ankle go and something a little bit in my knee. And I unfortunately wasn't able to play the rest of the game. So after getting done with the game, I didn't have an option to not do something. I had to walk to my car. Then had to get in my car and drive for 4 hours back home in traffic after a defeating loss. Okay. Now, what's the significance of this? The significance is that I immediately had to start doing plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. I had to move my ankle from the brakes to the gas, back and forth. So very subtle movements. It was slightly painful, but there was 4 hours of continuous movement in my ankle immediately post injury. That is beneficial. Okay. Day one would be my Sunday, which was the day after the game. And I have to take care of a kid. So that was holding him, walking around. Me and my family, we went on, I believe, like a 30-45 minute walk. So again, more active recovery. Now I'm going to take you into the rest of the week so you can see exactly what I did to be able to train and be able to actually go and run a week later. Now, I do have to say I didn't get this checked out by my doctor or anything like that. And I don't think that my ankle sprain was, say, a grade 2 or grade 3. So it was probably a grade 1. So take this with a little bit of grain of salt. And the progression that you're seeing, while I do think it can work very, very quickly, you might have to extend portions of the training or the protocol out a day or two based on your needs, or you may need to wait another day or two if you are in severe pain with this and you need some of that swelling and movement to come down. But you should be moving it as early as possible. So this is day 2 for the ankle rehab. So you can see I've had it with the compression. I left it on at night as long as I could until it hurt and I couldn't fall asleep. So I took it off, put it back on this morning. Now I'm gonna go through some distractions and moving my ankle around. And then I'm gonna show you guys the next steps for the protocol so you can see how quickly I can recover. The setup for this is gonna be a little weird and I'm gonna have to play around with it because what I want to do is get it around the ankle. So I'm creating a circle here and then I'm gonna loop it through and try to get this to the side. The tough part about this is you have to have a thick enough band that you're actually gonna be able to get some distraction on the joint and open up space, but at the same time it's like, look how big this is on my foot, so it's kind of challenging. Now this is a setup if you don't have anyone to help you, so normally you just have someone pull on this. And I'm gonna scoot way back. All right, it's pulling pretty good. It's pulling down pretty good. So I'll do some flexion extension. The roller's kind of nice because I can just like roll and get more tension. I did it mainly for the elevation, but it's kind of nice to be able to adjust pretty easily. And if you're trying to get back quick from like an ankle injury, like you're gonna have to move through some pain, but typically the scale that I go through is about a 3 out of 10. If it's more than about a 3 out of 10, and I'm not pushing forward with it, whether I'm doing eccentrics, isometrics, normal type movements, something like this. Like if it's a 3 out of 10, I think I'm fine. If it starts to get into 4 or 5 range and like a sharpshooting pain, I typically stop. So you're gonna have to play in that, what I call the gray area. There's no like black or white when it comes to returning quickly, because you have to provide enough stimulus and movement to the joint to get it to heal, but also not so much that you're causing more issues. So now I'm just going side to side with this. So after I just got done with the distractions, now I'm gonna go into some isometric work. So I'm gonna hit both a bent knee isometric, straight leg isometric, and both a plantar flex and a little bit more of a dorsiflexion. So with these, I'm probably starting off 1 to 2 sets as long as I can, about 45, 60 seconds if you need a goal. But we're really playing it by ear until I hit maybe that 3 or 4 out of 10 threshold of pain. So depending on the severity of your ankle sprain, you may need to start with both feet and then in a few days progress to single leg work. So you can always start here and hold as long as you can. But if that's pretty easy and you can progress further or quicker, and then I'm coming here, I'm just holding this, trying to make sure my big toe's down on the ground, and I'm holding this. And then what I'll do, so I'll hold this for as long as I can. I can definitely feel this in the arch of my foot, so there's a little something going on there, but it's not too bad. And I'm just using these handles for stability. And then once I get done with the plantar flex, so this is plantar flex, pushing your toe down, then I'm gonna go, so not my heel all the way down, but just about even here. You feel this in the arch a little bit more right now. I'm gonna hold this. Oh, and there it went. Ooh. So if you have this machine, this one works great because there's stability built in. This is a bent knee calf raise. And I'm just here, plantar flex. I don't know if I can hang single leg on this one. So like if I tried, well, I guess I can, but I don't know if I'm gonna be hold it for very long. And I'm basically gonna hold this until it starts to go into a forced eccentric, meaning that I can no longer hold that contraction. And my heel slowly starts to fall down, because for tendons, they heal, they need load. And slow eccentrics, isometrics, things like that, you can put a shit ton of force and load through. And there it went. So as it started to drop down, I started to get a little bit of the backside of that ankle start to feel some of that. So I probably have a little bit of strain going on back there, but that's what I need to hit. That's what I need to attack with it. Because when there's any sort of like rip or tear or anything in the tendon or parts damaged, In the beginning, it's always going to go through the stronger side, the stronger tendons first, until those muscles, those contractions start to fatigue out, and then there's going to be a little bit more even distribution to the damaged side, which is what you need in order to get the load, the stimulus through it, so the remodeling can happen and you can heal from it. I'm going to do another set. This one I'm going to stay with both feet. Just, I want to take it a little bit longer so I can have more of that even distribution happen longer throughout the tendon rather than maybe getting 15 seconds. The thing with isometrics too, and yielding isometrics, long isometrics, is that you have to go until this shit really sucks. This is the way that hurts for me. All right, that's it for day 2. 1-2 sets maybe, and then just normal activities of daily life. Walking, hanging out with my kid, working, and we'll move on to the next day.
So here's day 3, getting started with the banded distractions again, and you can see my toes look pretty nice after that game. So instead of just doing flexion extension, we'll do some circles here.
Ankles ripening up very nicely here.
And now I'm going to show you throughout the days just some different variations of the same type of movements. Okay, so this would be our straight leg loaded plantar flexion, which I'm doing with both feet because I added a little bit of load with this one. Now I'm moving into some dorsal or bent knee plantar flexion. ISOs, again, I'm holding anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds with each of these. Now, if you are feeling up for it, and this is where you would start to progress from simply just isometrics now into some longer eccentric work, I'm doing a 2 up, 1 down, where I'm focusing on going very slow down. Next, we're doing some single leg balance work. Any will work. I prefer mine on flat ground and not doing the instability stuff. I think you should work on flat ground first, and then you can progress to that. So some single leg balance work where I'm reaching across, just trying to challenge my ankle to stabilize and react really quickly. And now I'm going to get into a little bit of bike riding, just trying to get some blood flow into that area. And that is our day 3 recap. Now, day 4, I took off. I think a lot of people don't realize that all of the work that you're doing is a stress on the body. So you actually need to recover from that stress in order to have some of the adaptations happen. So now I'm just showing some different variations with the banded work that we're doing again. Today, I progressed those loaded isos now into a single leg variation, which I'm doing on a Smith machine here, which I think is great because it adds some stability. So you saw the plantar flex iso, and now we're going into that dorsiflex iso right now, where I'm just holding that foot in a slight elevation, and I'm going for as long as I can. With this, I added up the load, so again, I'm going to be in that 30 to 45 second range. So once I got done, right, the previous day was the slow eccentric work, then you can start to progress to normal concentric work, okay? Because my ankle was feeling a little bit better. I wanted to challenge the calf through the full range of motion, which I'm doing here. So 10, 15 reps, I was playing around with different foot positions. Now, before going into pure plyometric work, I'm doing some assisted, okay? So this isn't like the overspeed trying to jump as high as you can. This is literally to take weight off of my body and allow me to get some of that plyometric action. So I did 100 reps total of different variations, okay? So I did normal, I did splits, I did single leg, side to side, single leg for about 20 reps total. Now, this is my first test with the ankle, and I'm going into just some jogging. So I did jogging for about a minute. Then I cranked the resistance up on this, and I actually did some side shuffles each way to hit the lateral side, and then I did backwards walks. And that is our recap for the day. Now, day 6, again, same banded work. I removed the banded distractions after the second day. This is like a progression. It's like a quasi isometric that I'm doing here. So I wanted to put some change of like force into the ankle, but require my ankle to stay stiff and almost like in an isometric action. So these are the loaded toe walks that I was doing. And then same principle here with the sled push. With these, I was really trying to keep my heels locked in and my foot's locked in, so I wasn't seeing any heel collapse. So again, it's like the isometric action where you're having to push through the ankle with the sled push. Now for all of this, I'm not doing a ton of sets. I'm doing like 1 to 2 sets, getting the stimulus, getting the work, and then getting out. So you can see I went back again here. I'm using a little bit less support for the band, so there's a little bit more force with the plyometric action on my ankles. I actually did these barefoot as well, which took away some of the support that I was getting and gonna again put more force through the ankle. So this is how I progressed those assisted plyos. And then when I went into normal base plyometrics, I started at a very low level, started with both feet, and I put my shoes back on to reduce some of the impact because I wasn't 100% sure exactly how these were going to go. But they felt pretty good overall, and I'm just doing different plyometrics in different movement patterns to try to train the ankle. And then I went back to our isometrics. I'm having isometrics throughout all of this. You can see the weight's a little bit heavier. When I increase the weight, I always make sure that I'm going 2 feet first before I go back into it. And that was day 6. And now, little progress update. Day 7, I'm going fully into a lift. Okay, so we did some clean pulls. This is some loaded extension that I was getting. I put an ankle brace on because I'm not stupid. And I went into some seated box jumps and sprinting. So I'm good. Like and follow for more.